So there's this guy I've been talking to for the last 3 or 4 years, and for the last 3 or 4 years I've had to remind him over and over again that as somebody who suffered severe trauma at the hands of people who were shouting things like "queer at me, I am uncomfortable with the word." Somewhere around the time I uploaded my last video, which was on the subject, I blew up at the guy for doing exactly this yet again, and probably the video proximity is not unrelated because I had basically had enough of this subject at the time. His response was also hostile, and that is actually understandable, except for the fact that he handled things in about the same way he'd been handling them for the last 3 or 4 years. He, the straight guy, prefers queer, and don't I understand that queer is the preferred word? And don't I understand that I am an outlier in my own community, which he is not part of? This guy has since attempted to repair a friendship, and I don't see how that can possibly be mended. There are a bunch of factors that I could cite in that in terms of how to address minorities, or at least specific members of minority groups, how to handle somebody who has dealt with trauma, especially if you are somebody who's dealt with trauma and should probably understand that certain things will invoke fear, possibly sheer abject terror. Well, once you strip away all the arguments about power dynamics and intragroup relationships and trauma triggers and all that shit, there is one simple principle underlying all of this. If you say and do things that make people uncomfortable, they're probably not going to want to associate with you. And because, as I've recently noted on this channel, there is this tendency for both sides to ignore their own faults and to focus on the fact that something I said pwns the other side, I'm just going to point out that this does apply whether you're an edgy boy on the internet who's upset that nobody wants to hang around with him because of his funny jokes, or a supposedly self-described woke feminist, social justice, LGBT ally, advocate, buzzword here. Thanks for listening. Amaranth. Out.